This week, we're going to work on improving the quality of our JavaScript and bringing it up to current standards. Most of what we've done in the class so far was based on JavaScript of about 3 or 4 years ago, and there are a few things that are changing. I didn't want to introduce the new things early on, but it's time to bring our JavaScript up to date. There's a few different ways of writing things. The old ways work, the new ways will help to prevent unfortunate and unforeseen errors. So you're going to combine some skills that you already have, plus you're going to update your coding. So we have done a bunch of things with changing items from arrays. We're going to make a sliding thumbnail. I only do half. You have to make it go the other way too, and I want you to have 5 instead of 3 up here, so you can take my example and expand upon it. But I have 3 and you'll make them go both ways. And if I click on any of these, they will change the title, the description. And I want you to have a real title and description. This is just how I test. I would go in and replace after this with the correct title and description. I'm just making sure that the numbers match. And you can see that's title 2, 3, 4, I only think I have 5. And then it'll go back to 1 at the end. So that's what you're going to create. We're going to look at some of the new things that the W3 schools are pushing for the best practices the way Java is written now. Java as a language or JavaScript as a language continues to evolve over the years. On the good and the bad side, I've been writing in JavaScript since about 2001. And things have changed a lot since then. So I have some old habits that you've seen in previous videos that we need to bring up to date. Now, a lot of this I actually do. JavaScript declarations are hoisted, which means it can be declared after it's been used. That's bad. It can cause issues. The best practice: declare and initialize your variables at the top. I basically do that. So let's take a look at the code for this week's program. So the HTML code, not that one, this HTML code, is just pretty basic. We have a panel that with I call it slides, and I have the different thumbnails, and on click you've got left button, center button, right button. I recommend if you're doing 5, I did 3, you might want to number them button 1, button 2, button 3, button 4, button 5. That might be a little clearer. Then I have my play image pointing to the right, and I do have one that points to the left too. You can call them right and left, whatever you want. And I've given it the alt tag of play, ID of play right. My other one I would give an ID of play left, and I have it calling the change thumb function. So in the HTML, the newer recommendation is to put the scripts at the end of the page, so all of the HTML loads before your JavaScript loads. That is what is encouraged today. Again, standards are changing. You'll see in some of my past videos that I've had things at the top because I have old bad habits. I'm trying to change. So I'm trying to teach you what you should be doing. So that's the hoisting. Just basically declare, go to the JavaScript, declare your variables at the top. And as part of that, all of these arrays are going to be the same length. So I just have my count equal to images.length, and I will use that anytime I need the length of the array because all the arrays should be of the same length. And instead of getting it where it evaluates it each time, it's faster to calculate that once and use the count variable throughout. So I have variables, and this is a function that I got from the Muroc book to just create the shorthand for the $sign. It's the only place I've seen use it, but it does speed up development. It may be clearer to actually type out the code, but I actually really like the $sign, so I adopted that. Okay, let's look at the preload, because this is going to be something you haven't done before. So our functions, this is the current way of doing it. The other way is from the Muroc book, where we're doing equals function. So you just declare function, the function name, and the open and close parentheses, which would receive your parameters. This is more standard to Java and other areas. You're also seeing that in each function, I'm adding the use strict command. That is a relatively new directive. In ECMAScript version 5. It's not a statement, but a literal expression ignored by earlier versions of JavaScript. It's to indicate that the code should be executed in strict mode. So you can't use undeclared variables. So you'll use strict to the beginning of a script or a function. So you'll see I've added that to each of my functions, and that again will help prevent unforeseen errors by making sure that you are properly declaring all of your variables ahead of time. So that's what the use strict code is for. Their next tip, we have the JavaScript style guide, coding conventions. You can just read through this. Mostly, we've been doing this the whole way through. It's just this putting the function in the front. This is there's two ways to declare them. We've now used both, and it's good to know both of them. Objects we haven't gotten to yet. You'll do that in the next couple weeks. They're having you not declare the variable in here. They're having it declare it outside. And so those are all pretty standard things. And you'll see that we've mostly been applying those throughout, but they're all applied in here. The new one is the triple equal sign. Most of you have come from our programming logic class, and in most programming languages, a double equal sign is a comparison sign. A triple equal sign in JavaScript makes it more strict. So let's take a look at that. Declarations on top, declare local variables, initialize your variables, good idea. Never declare string objects, yep, no problem. And this is the one that's really kind of new for us. The equals comparison operator always converts to matching types before it compares. The triple equals operator forces comparisons of values and types. So if we use double, 1 will equal the string of 1. If we use the triple, they will not be the same. It's more precise. So they're suggesting that you always use the triple equal sign. And here's another one. If you're passing something, which we're not in this, you should set, if it's equal to undefined, you should set defaults. So that's helping to avoid an undefined error. So those are the key things that we're using in the program. Now let's just take a quick run through the code from top to bottom. So we're declaring our variables, we're declaring our arrays. The count variable has to come after the array variables because it's counting the arrays. Then we have our preload function, which we're going to preload our images so that they load faster. And so that's just using this push statement. So I load my thumbnail images because they're in a different location than my large images. Now there's a question here on efficiency. Since we're loading the large images, would it be better to just have only the large images and then define them to a smaller size? Possibly. You could probably say it'd be more efficient by having one set of images and just making it appear smaller and to only load once. Advantages and disadvantages to both sides. But you should preload your images. So I move through the thumbnails, and the function is a use strict. And I have center, left, and right thumb. These can be in any order. But I've given them each a variable starting with a specific number. So center thumb started with 0, left thumb started with 4, and right thumb started with 1. And so for each of these, and I only have 5, which is count, because I have the link there, so I want to make it match that array count. If it equals count, it resets it to 0 to make it endlessly loop. If you're doing it in the other direction, if it equals 0, you'll reset it to count. That's how you're going to change directions, because you need to have it go left and right. I've done basically half the program for you. You have to get it going the other way as well. And then I have my center one. Again, if it equals count, we reset it to 0. And that's after incrementing. So we increment it, plus increments. If it equals count, it's reset to 0. And then we change the actual image to whatever the array number is. Left does the same thing, right does the same thing. Since we have specific array images and what I would like to call parallel arrays, your thumbnail one and your image one are different sizes of the same thing. And the reason that I left this in here this way instead of just having one set of images is it shows you how parallel arrays work, where you have related concepts on the same index. And then I have title one and longer description one, and you should use real titles and real descriptions here. But when I'm debugging the JavaScript, I typically just put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just to make sure everything's meshing together. Then I go back and type over them to make them more appropriate. So that moves through the thumbnails, and for each one, if you click on left button, you might have buttons 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have set the large source from the array, I set the title from the title array, I set the detail from the description array. And those are my IDs in my HTML. So it's really a pretty straightforward program. You've done everything in here before, but it's practice for you on using the most current up-to-date formatting and best practices in JavaScript.